Welcome to DNW by Karuna. When people talk about global power, they usually talk about armies, missiles, or technology. But in reality, global power is often decided by geography. And today, there is one ocean that is quietly becoming one of the most important strategic regions on Earth, the Indian Ocean. Almost 80% of the global seaborne oil trade passes through these routes connecting to this ocean. And interestingly, this is also the region where China faces one of its biggest strategic challenges. So, in this video, we will understand why the Indian Ocean matters so much and why China pays very close attention to this region. Also, I have written a detailed blog explaining the maps and the trade routes. Link is in the description. The ocean that connects three continents. Look at the world map. The Indian Ocean sits between Asia, Africa, and Australia. This location makes it a global connector. Ships carrying goods from East Asia travel across this ocean to reach Europe and Africa. Energy from the Middle East travels through this ocean to reach Asia. Because of this geography, the Indian Ocean is often called the highway of global trade. The energy lifeline. One of the most important reasons this ocean matters is energy security. Large oil shipments move from the Middle East through narrow maritime choke points. One of the most important choke points is Strait of the Malacca. This narrow passage connects the Indian Ocean with the Pacific. Every day, thousands of ships passes through this route. For China, this route is extremely important because a large portion of its oil imports travel through this passage. This is why the strategies sometimes talk about the Malacca dilemma. The Malacca dilemma is a strategic concern. It simply means that if a country depends heavily on one narrow trade route, it could become vulnerable if that route is disrupted. Because so much Chinese energy imports pass through the Strait of Malacca, this passage becomes extremely important. This is one of the reasons why China is interested in alternative trade routes and ports across the region. India's geography. Now let's talk about geography again. Right in the center of Indian Ocean lies India. India's position allows it to observe some of the most important sea routes. One particularly important location is the Andaman and Nicobar Island. These islands sit very close to Strait of Malacca. Because of this location, they are often described as a natural observation point for maritime activity in the region. A real maritime strategy. Let's look at a real strategic development. China has invested in ports across several countries around the Indian Ocean. Some of these includes Gwadar Port, Hambantota Port, Djibouti Naval Base. These ports are part of broader economic and trade connectivity projects. From a strategic perspective, such ports can help ship refuel, resupply, and support long-distance maritime operations. This is one example of how geography and infrastructure influence global strategy. The string of pearls idea. Many analysts describe these ports as part of a concept sometimes called the string of pearls. This idea refers to a network of ports and facilitates across the Indian Ocean region. Each port acts like a pearl along important maritime routes. The concept highlights now countries try to secure trade routes and maintain presence in important seas. The Djibouti base. A very interesting example is Djibouti. Djibouti sits near the entrance of the Red Sea. This is located is extremely important because it connects the Suez Canal, one of the most important shipping routes to Europe. China established its first overseas naval base in Djibouti. This base supports anti piracy missions and maritime security operations, but its location also shows how strategic geography shapes naval planning. Naval presence in the Indian Ocean. Because the Indian Ocean is so important, many navies operate here. Ships from countries like India, United States, China, Australia often conduct patrols and exercise in the region. These operations are usually aimed at maritime security, anti-piracy operation protecting global trade routes. A unique perspective, geography versus power. Here is something interesting. Even powerful countries cannot easily change geography. Missiles can be built, ships can be built, but ocean, island, and choke points remain where they are. That means geography creates permanent strategic advantages and challenges. The Indian Ocean will always remain important because global trade routes naturally passes through it. Why the Indian Ocean will become even more important? The future importance of this region is growing for three main reasons. Asia's economy continues to grow. Second, global energy demand is increasing. Third, Indo Pacific geopolitics is becoming more central to global strategy. Because of these factors, the Indian Ocean will likely remain one of the most strategically important regions on Earth. So, the story of the Indian Ocean is not just about one country, it is about global trade, geography, and long term strategy. This ocean connects energy supplies, international shipping, major economies, and that is why government and analysts around the world continue to pay close attention to this region. If you want a deeper explanation of the map and strategic routes, I have written a detailed blog, link is in the description.